from scratch. So let's go all the way back to where I was before. Alrighty. This is what I want to show you guys. Let's look at the sea surface temperature anomalies. This is what I want to focus first. Very warm temperatures off Labrador and south of Greenland and Atlantic Canada. Very warm. In fact, even more so than last year. This will absolutely create blocking this winter. Another thing I want to focus on is the La Niña. Very strong La Niña. Very strong. And here's some upwelling from Hurricane K right here. Anyway, yeah. So, and the PDO looks to be neutral right now. So here you have some pretty cold waters here. That's about 3 to 4 degrees Celsius. So you have about temperatures at about running between 1 and 3 degrees Celsius below normal across the ENSO regions. But yes, the more impressive temperature anomalies is here right off of Labrador, basically. This will absolutely support rising pressures. Yeah, so colder temperatures over Greenland, basically, when the NAO is positive. In my opinion, this will absolutely create a negative NAO. Very likely negative NAO. In fact, one of the more memorable winters... Let's go back to the winter of 2010. Just want to show you guys something. Let's go to around this time in September. So again, you had a strong La Niña. It was slightly different, but not much different. You had warm water, but very cold. Yeah, but of course it's more amplified now. But you had a lot of warm water off around Greenland. And that winter was one of the coldest and snowiest that I remember. Let's go to October now. Let's go now to last year. There we go. We'll look at 90-day animations. Look how this changes. Oh, but look. But Earl decides to say something about it. Here comes Earl. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Earl. Look how the Enso propagates west. Wow. Yeah. A lot of upwelling. So yes, right now, it's safe to say pretty cold and snowy winter is likely, but it remains to be seen. That's weird. It's decreasing? All these storms on Las Vegas that they just got today. Wow, it's a little weird. Anyway, I'm getting really tired. Alright, I can't tell who's in my live stream right now. I'm just going to mute it. Just going to see who's watching right now. Stream right now. I'm just going to mute it. So I turned off the volume right now. Echo. I'm just going to mute it. So I turned off the volume right now. Echo. I don't have a computer yet. So I turned off the volume. So once I get the computer, I don't have a computer yet. So I turned off the volume. So once I get the computer, I don't have a computer yet. So I turned off the volume. So once I get the computer, I don't have a computer yet. All right. So let's look at where I am right now. It's pretty nasty outside. Weather's just yucky. It's really yucky outside. And yeah, basically this is going to become a low pressure system that's just going to basically stall and meander over me for a couple of days. Yeah. And tomorrow I have work and I don't have a raincoat. So I do have a poncho, but yeah. I'm not ready for tomorrow because it's kind of gonna, it's gonna pivot back. So yeah, thankfully that's going to be, looks like Sunday won't be too bad, but then you're gonna have this piece that's gonna kind of pivot back. So it's gonna go whip, it's gonna go yip, and I'm just going to pivot back. Tomorrow's probably gonna be in the upper 60s for highs. Yeah, upper 60s, and then yeah. Wow, upper 40s. Yikes. Wow, 40s, 30s even. Yikes, that is cold. I'm just shivering thinking about it. Yeah, so the weather right now is just atrocious. It is just awful right now. In fact, we're kind of just getting the thick of it right now. I'm going to be going outside for a little bit. Anyway. So yes, I moved to Iowa City. So basically I moved from New York. I moved about a few weeks ago. That's why I stopped streaming. So that last day that I streamed about a month ago was just as I was getting ready to move. In fact, the 1 month anniversary of me moving here is going to be in just a few days. I no longer live in New York. I now live in Iowa. And exactly where in Iowa, if you want to know, is Iowa City. I moved here because, for several reasons. One, the main reason is actually not weather related, but it's actually because of expense. New York City is just too expensive. It's not safe. And also, yeah, it's also, that's the main reasons. The third reason is weather related, storm chasing. I'm going to get a car in a few months and I will start storm chasing in Iowa. Well, basically the Great Plains. But I'm also going to be working 2 jobs. I'm going to be working either at Walmart or Domino's as a delivery driver. I already work at Amazon as a delivery driver, but this is something temporary. I'm going to be going to school in the spring at the University of Iowa, which is here in Iowa City. But then I'm going to transfer to Iowa State to major in meteorology. So that really negative that eruption allowed for the polar vortex to be stronger than normal because it cooled down the troposphere over the northern hemisphere. It cooled it down over the North Pole. So you had a stronger than normal polar vortex, which would have otherwise been weak and would have had a cold, snowy winter. So I'm outside right now. So I'm outside. I actually saw the rain coming in even from this morning. There we go, finally. Okay. Alrighty, okay. So my long sleeve is on. And it's not just raining, it is absolutely pouring. Well, we're not having any thunderstorms. We're having a very heavy, steady rain. I mean, we're right on top, like, it's literally right on top of me right now. So because I'm recording, I'm still screen recording. So let me try to end the screen recording. Hold on. I stopped screen recording now, so now you probably should just be seeing what I'm seeing without the other stuff. All right. So so I'm just gonna step out just for a second. Oh yeah, it's raining too hard. Yeah. And this right here, if you want to see what I'm holding here, this is my key fob, and these are my 2 keys here. Yeah, the weather here is just awful. I mean, nice little spider web there. These are orb weaver spiders. They're actually harmless, basically. They're actually pretty big, but almost all the spiders here in Iowa are harmless. Almost all. The orb weaver spiders and the wolf spiders don't have any poison. While they do have a little bit of venom, it's basically like a bee sting. It wouldn't hurt you, but unless you have an allergy. But they don't have any like venom or poison. It's just like, some people could have a reaction to a spider bite if it's non-poisonous. But going back on topic, talking about this winter, it remains to be seen. But odds are, the way my thinking, based on what I saw, is that it's going to be a very cold, snowy winter. You're going to have a troughiness on the East Coast, the Midwest and East Coast, a lot of cold blasts, above average precipitation across the northern United States. So Washington State, Oregon, northernmost California, Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, South Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa, Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York will have average to above average precipitation. Snowfall will be the highest snowfall will actually be not along the coast, but interior portions of the Northeast. Because with a La Niña, your primary storm track will be across, the Pacific Northwest with the storm tracks, then going down the Great Plains, then going across, the Ohio Valley, and then up the Northeast. Could be inland, could be along the coast. Or it could be slightly off the coast or inland runners. So your track could be something like this, with the Ohio Valley being here, or slightly further south and up the coast. So you could still have storms that could sneak their way down towards the Gulf Coast, like a clipper system, or just a system, pick up Gulf moisture, and then take that up the coast. That's typically what you have during La Niña winters. La Niña winters don't really have an active subtropical jet stream. So it's not like you're going to have a storm that will come ashore California, or a storm that will have a lot of Gulf moisture. The only storms that will have Gulf moisture will not originate in the subtropics. In fact, might originate from the north and could sneak their way south during an Arctic blast. So think of what happened in the winter of 2014-2015, when storms from clipper systems from the Great Plains snuck their way down towards the Tennessee River Valley, went eastward, and then came off the East Coast and went up the coast. Think something like that. Don't think of what happened in 2017-2018, like that bomb cyclone that went all the way up the East Coast from like Florida towards New England. That is more of an El Nino type. That's more of a subtropical jet stream. Think more like what happened in 2010, 2011, 2014, 2015, those years. That's what this winter is looking like. I mean, we could also have something like 2011, 2012, but with how warm the eastern Atlantic is, off of Labrador, and how warm the Gulf of California is, Gulf of Alaska, I'm leaning towards a very cold and snowy winter for the northern 2/3 of the country, especially east of the Rockies. So east of the Rockies, northern 2/3 of the country will be very cold. Basically, think of Tennessee northward, very cold, like where I am, basically the worst. Just think of the coldest winter you could imagine. Negative 20, 30 belows for some of the coldest nights here. But imagine even the possibility of the Great Lakes freezing solid for the first time in years. That could happen this winter. We have the potential here in the United States to have the coldest winter in almost a decade. Just think about it. That is a possibility. Not only are we having a La Niña, but the northern Pacific is warm. Both of that supports West Coast warm, rest of the country cold and snowy. A lot of storminess and troughiness. Also very warm Atlantic, so a lot of chances for major bombogenesis along the East Coast. So major blizzards for New York, major blizzards for Boston. Well, especially New York City northward, major storms. Major storms potentially for inland portions of the Northeast. Like, well, you could have storms that will probably hug the coast, so they won't be too far south. So you could also have some inland runners, basically storms that go as, clipper systems that will probably, go down towards not towards the Gulf Coast itself, but just north of the Gulf Coast and then go up the coast. So my forecast for Iowa City, Cedar Rapids area is 40 to 60 inches of snow. Temperatures about 3 to 5 degrees below normal. I'm not saying 10 to 15 degrees below normal. I'm thinking 3 to 5 degrees below normal. I mean, you'll probably have some thaw events, but the south will be abnormally dry and warm. More so, equal chances for temperature across the south, slightly above normal temps. Especially southern Florida will have very. Actually, if you're going to South Florida this winter, you're gonna love it. It's gonna be very warm, very dry, not a lot of storms, so very warm summer. But if you're gonna be in the deep south, like Kentucky, like Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, be on alert while precipitation will be below normal. There is the potential for severe weather early in the winter and later in the spring. So like November, early December, late November, severe weather. Alabama, Mississippi, Kentucky. Think of what happened last winter could repeat itself this winter because of abnormally warm Gulf of Mexico waters. We also didn't have major hurricanes going into the Gulf this year. That means the Gulf could end up being warmer because of less upwelling. So that could be another major concern. We could have more tornadic activity around the fall, late into the fall, basically. Deep South needs to be on alert for the potential for more severe weather. Also, October could have some severe weather for the Midwest because of these wild swings in the jet stream. Potential exists for severe weather in the Ohio River Valley, especially towards the south. And also, very robust severe weather season is likely this spring, especially in Dixie Alley. I think Dixie Alley will be very, very active this spring. Very concerned about Dixie Alley this spring. Especially with that, this winter has a potential to be like 2010, 2011. We could have several really bad severe weather outbreaks this spring in Dixie Alley and the East Coast, like what happened on April 16th, 2011 in the Carolinas. We could have something like that. So the potential exists for a very, very active severe weather season. And why will the severe weather season be very active? Well, following a very cold winter, you will have, the northern part of the country be very cold and snowy, and the southern areas being very dry. And this will lead to the jet stream being very unstable. This will allow for major swings in the jet stream, so this will cause a lot of wind shear, which will lead to higher levels of helicity, higher Cape values, and tornadic and supercellular activity, whether it being from a QLCS or from discrete supercells. I'm just talking about this is what the general threat will be this spring in the Deep South. Dixie Alley should also be on alert, as I mentioned, this this fall. Occasionally this winter, but I'm more concerned about the fall and the spring. More so about the spring. New York City is a wild card. Inland portions of the Northeast, like western New Jersey, eastern PA, 60 to 80 inches. New York City, 30 to 50 inches. Boston, wild card. 60 to 100 inches for Boston. Boston will have above average snowfall this winter, especially Boston westward. So if you're west of Boston, like if you live in Worcester, if you live in Natick, Framingham, big snows this winter. Those areas can get 80 to 110 inches of snow. Boston itself, 60 to 100 inches. New York City, 30 to 50 inches. And I'm talking about the city in Long Island. West of New York City, 60 to 80 inches. Isolated amounts in the Poconos, upwards of 100 inches or greater. Looking at the Midwest, Chicago, 40 to 60 inches of snow. Michigan, Kalamazoo, 60 to 90 inches of snow. You know, that's counting the lake effect. Buffalo, 80 to 120 inches of snow. Again, lake effect. You know, you'll have a lot of lake effect snow in December, and in January and February, you'll have a lot of snowstorms from those clipper systems. So, very snowy winter. I think your biggest chance for snow in Buffalo will actually not be so much from lake effect, but actually from those from those low pressure systems. Buffalo will definitely have an above average season for snowfall. Washington, D.C., not too bad, about 20 to 30 inches, which is slightly above normal, but nothing too crazy. Philadelphia should see about 40 to 60 inches. Lancaster, PA, about 50 to 70 inches of snow. And if you live in Baltimore and D.C., between 20 and 40 inches. With Baltimore getting closer to 40, D.C. getting closer to 20. Chicago, 40 to 60. Mostly from coastal storms, with some from lake effect or lake enhancement during those storms when you have north and northeast winds. You know, you're going to have snow from the storm combining with lake effect. Where I am, 40 to 60. Mostly from clipper systems, a couple of snowstorms, but mostly clipper systems here in Iowa City. When those Arctic fronts come through. But one or two snowstorms, especially when when you get low pressure systems rearing their ugly heads in the northern Great Plains. Anyway, looking for temperatures. Temperatures should run 2 to 5 degrees below average across the East Coast and the Midwest, with the coldest temps being in the upper Midwest, where temperatures could run 4 to 7 degrees below normal this winter. Slightly above average temperatures this fall. So this September will be above average. November, December will start getting below average. How much snowfall in Missouri depends on where you are. You live, I believe, in the St. Louis area. You should be getting around 30 to 50 inches of snow. 30 to 50 inches is a safe bet. The further south you are, the less snow you will have. Because your storm track is going to be mostly over you or to your north. So yeah, 30 to 50 inches for St. Louis. With the Dakotas getting upwards of 60 to 80 inches of snow.
I want the car. This is actually...
Thank you for watching, everyone. Good night.